Alright, so just to recap his trip, he started off in Rocklin, California, which is where he went to school. And that night, he ended up about an hour away in a remote area where he tried to call his mom, but his mom didn't answer. So then he kept driving, and about here in Buttonwillow, he ran out of gas because the insurance called his mom, told him that he had used the roadside assistance for gas. So then he ends up being there for about 9 hours, and then he continues driving off down to the Castaic Lake area, and that's where you guys saw that video at the beginning where that freeway was the actual freeway he took, and that off-ramp was the off-ramp he took onto Lake Hughes Road, which is where the CCTV camera got him, caught him driving his car. And so he goes up, but then later on he comes back down. It's about 4:20, I think it was, and it's weird because what was he doing for about 2 hours? And then he ends up here with his car, and that's where he drives down, which they say he accelerated all the way down, but he ends up flipping onto this road, flipping his car over and landing onto this road. And then they said the back window was blown out, or not blown out, but broken out, because that's where he crawled out. They said so. And here's a hill here, so you see, came up, drove up to this hill. I'm not sure if he got out and looked around. It's a possibility since he had all that time. And then he just accelerated all the way down. So I don't know if he was trying to use that little mound there as a ramp, or his car hit some kind of rock or something that maybe just guided, just threw off the alignment of his trajectory, going down. So either way, he didn't make it. So I don't know, maybe his car wasn't fast enough or didn't pick up enough speed, but he probably thought that the water was closer, possibly. Now, after that, he gets out of the car, and then we really don't know which way he went, so that's where the mystery lies. Alright, so you guys can see how rough it is, the terrain right there. So I guess if you're planning to drive your car off, you'd probably need more speed. Instead of starting there, you'd probably have to start farther back to gain more speed. He had an SUV, I believe it was a 2003 Highlander. Let me see, I did an AI photo recreation. Here it is. So it's AI didn't really get the car right, but you kind of see he could have ended up maybe in that position. There's really no photos from law enforcement, which is kind of weird. The photo that you find when you try to Google it, it's not even at the right place, and it's not the right car either. So it's just kind of weird why they wouldn't include it, unless they think maybe there's some foul play, or they're trying to see if anybody comes forward with extra information. So the question is, where did he go after the crash? Could he have walked back towards town or up towards the mountains? So in one direction, you go back to like where the freeway was and all the little shops, and then the other way would be up to the mountains. So yeah, people usually find people that go missing, when they're found, they're usually found within 2 miles. So here's the radius of the 2 mile. So it goes all the way down to the freeway, and then all the way up into the mountains where it's kind of rough terrain. You'll see I did a drone footage, kind of panned the whole area. I didn't go in too far. I don't think he made it too far if he was on foot, especially since he had been up for what was it, about 30 hours. And so here's some of the footage here. I kind of did some close-ups where I thought maybe there'd be I saw some like weird things or strange items. It's kind of hard to tell on the drone because the screen is so small when I'm flying it. So I just kind of zoom in, and then later I just review it. So if you guys see anything, let me know. But I was trying to find like maybe clothing items or did go this way, he went towards towards the mountains. I don't think he went towards the freeway. Back where he got off the freeway. And I'm saying, I know the dogs, the search dogs, they ended up tracking his scent all the way back to the truck stop. But I feel like that's just when he was driving back and forth, when the CCTV camera caught him going through Lake Hughes Road, which, I have a feeling he kind of went down just to try to find a spot, maybe at first, maybe to rest, and then later on he found this area. He went back up to this area where he ended up launching his car off. So I don't know. I know he had really, his behavior was really erratic, from sitting in his car in Buttonwillow for, I think it was like 9 hours. The law enforcement came and they checked him out. They searched his car, and they didn't find anything. Some people said, well, there could have been drugs, unless he hit him real good in his car or something. But other than that, they didn't find anything really suspicious. So they just kind of let him go. They let him talk to his mom. He said he was fine and he was going to continue on, but he didn't. He stayed there a couple hours more until his mom called a guy from, I think it was like a gas station or a repair shop. And then that guy went and talked to him. And then that's when he decided to continue on. And the guy followed him for, I don't know, a few miles, until he just, he knew he wasn't going to stop. So he turned back around, and then he let Bryce continue on, and updated his mom. And so Bryce continued on until he got to this place about 2 in the morning, and then he just kind of drove around for 2 hours, which is, it's just one road up, so I don't know how far. He could have driven farther down into the mountains, like down that road, Lake Hughes Road, because it goes farther down. And maybe he was just trying to find a place to sleep, but I'm not sure. Driving around for 2 hours, if he was just trying to find a spot to maybe end his life, he could have found it sooner or on the way. I know for those of you who are familiar with California, he went up the Great Bright, before he got off on the Lake Hughes Road, off the 5 freeway. You go up this mountain area. It's kind of mountainous, and it's called the Grapevine, and so it goes it winds, not too sharply, but it kind of winds down. But on the sides, there's like areas where, if you end up swerving out of your lane, you could end up going down the mountain and get seriously hurt or even die down there. So now I know it was dark around the time when he was driving, so who knows what he was thinking, or he was just trying to get to the spot. On his GPS, he did have GPS, we're just not sure how good it was, back then, or which one he was using. So he could have found, who knows? That's the whole mystery, is like, what was he thinking? Was he trying to find a spot to end his life, or was he trying to find a spot to kind of pretend, he went missing and started a new life somewhere, which is another theory that people have. Nobody really knows. So if it did walk down after the crash into this, down the hill, through the rough part, you see these waterways where the water has eroded some of the earth, and caused these large crevices. So at nighttime, assuming he crashed between 4 and 5 in the morning, it's still dark, so you probably can't see that there's a large opening, so you could easily fall in. So that's why I kind of decided to search some of these areas that were kind of created with the water. So I know there was a fire at the beginning of this year in January, so it kind of burned all this area, but it kind of cleared some of the shrubbery, so we kind of could see a little better, because before there used to be a lot of shrubbery, which it's kind of hard to tell if somebody like hid under a tree or a bush or something. You know, like, it's hard to find, especially if you're searching from the air. I'm not sure if the search teams, like, they actually hiked down down the whole side of this hill. And I know sometimes, I see some like weird things on the drone, but sometimes I can't make it out until I get home and I review it on the larger screen. So I think that was just a branch, but you never know. Like if you guys, like I said, if you guys see something that I probably missed, just let me know, and I could kind of go back to the minute where you saw it and review it a little bit better. Or actually, if it seems like it's something, I could actually go back and maybe get a closer look on the drone, or hike down there a little bit. This isn't too bad to hike down, but at nighttime it would be, but maybe not during the day. As long as you're careful, it should be okay. And then down below, you got the parking lot, which is that parking lot that's open 24 hours for the most part. You know, I know sometimes they close it. Hey everyone, it's me again. I'm here at Castaic Lake. So this is where Bryce Laspisa went missing back in 2013, and he still hasn't been found. So, you know, he could actually get seriously hurt or even die back here if you're not careful. So anyway, so I'm gonna continue flying the drone a little bit more, see if I could see anything around here, any clues. I mean, I don't think you could wander off too far, you know. So another possibility is he went into the lake and drowned himself, but that's kind of hard to drown yourself. I don't know. I guess he could have just started swimming until he got tired, but so who knows. Anyway, I'm going to keep investigating, see what I see. I'm going to try to go farther down. The road's closed, so hopefully I could get a little closer in a little bit. All right. All right, so I think here's what happened when he was driving. So he got off on Lake Hughes Road. He drives up, and the fact that he didn't stop at any of those gas stations, it looked like he knew he was looking for this 24-hour parking, but it might have been closed. Um, so he might have hung out there for a while since, he already did that in Button Willow where he just sits in his car. So either he sat in his car or he walked around to see where else he could get in. So after that, because the CCTV camera got him going up Lake Hughes Road, so since he sees it closed, he might have gone down, but turned into this road here and then back up, because there's right here, you're gonna see where I circle it, there's a truck stop, which is where the dogs, followed the scent over to that he went that way. But then since CCTV camera got him again passing the same road at 4:20, I believe it was, that means he came back up into that area where he launched his car off, and that's where the crash site was. So the question is, was he trying to find a place to sleep or rest a few hours? Was he trying to get to this 24-hour parking down here, and it was closed like it was when, I went up there this time? You'll see on the drone footage, I'm not sure if I show that clip where they see it's blocked off. I was trying to see if on that day it was closed out, but I can't find any record of it. I don't know if anybody knows that area, if it was closed off that around that time. But anyway, I feel like after seeing that it was closed, assuming that it was closed, he probably went back down to try to find a spot to park, and that's why they tracked his scent all the way. The dogs tracked his scent all the way back to the truck stop. We know that the dogs can track the scent even if you're in the car, So he probably went to the truck stop and tried to find a parking, but he probably saw that it was pretty full. Usually that truck stop is kind of small, especially the parking's kind of crazy there. And then the street is kind of, there's always like people around that area. There's truckers, there's people traveling. So, and then there's a lot of cameras too, and I really don't feel like a trucker would have picked them up. I think there's too many people seeing other people there, that people are watching, especially if a young guy gets into a truck or something, which seems like out of the norm. Plus, I think he was bleeding too, that's what they were saying, so that's probably not likely. Alright, so after the crash, where could he have gone? I feel like if he wanted to end his life, he would have maybe gone this way. As you can see, it's like more mountainous area, just to kind of get away from things. They didn't find him in the area where he crashed, so he had to have gone either towards the freeway back where he started, or in this area, which is where I searched with the drone. And I put the point of interest because they say that when people sometimes when they want to end their lives or something, they'll pick like a scenic place or a place that has meaning to them, or there's something special about that place. So that little where I circled it, that's where it's like the high point. So if he kept going down towards the mountain area, like down that road where he flipped over and he kept on going down, you'll hit the parking lot, and then if you keep going, you'll go along the shore of the lake, and that'll take you down to that area where it's kind of like mountainous. So here's like that blue line just shows you you can walk around the lake. I mean, it's not easy, but by the time he's walking around, it has to be, the sun's probably starting to come up. It had to be like about 5:30 maybe. So and that area there that I circled, the point of interest, is about a mile away, which is what they say is people get found within a mile or two. So here's where he crashed. So he goes down that hill, he crashes on that road, And then, because it's nighttime, it's not likely he walked down into the, downhill. He probably just kept walking down this road and just went along the shoreline all the way. Any of these spots, I couldn't search too many spots. I would probably need a few days to kind of search that whole shoreline. But so if you look at this spot, which I'll show you in the drone too, but this is just Google Earth, I believe. So you can see everything from there. You get a view of all the stuff. So from here, had he got caught up here, hiked up here, he probably by this time, probably would have been closer to 6. I'm guessing it would probably take like an hour. And he probably would have just seen the law enforcement show up to the crash site. But if you could see this spot, it's real dangerous. You could fall, or if you wanted to harm himself, this would be a spot that would accomplish that. So now there's a trail that goes on the other side too. So I checked all these little trails that went around this mountainside just to see if I found anything. And there is some strange stuff here. I do find at one point some red things. I don't know, I'm probably have to go back and check it out because I had to zoom it in. There's some red things under the one of a bush or a branch. And they say I think his shoes had red on them, so that's what was kind of interesting. And for some of you that maybe know more of the plant species around this area, maybe you guys could tell me if it's just part of a plant, branch, or maybe some kind of native tree that has red on it. I'll show you guys that in a little bit. Here's all the footage from the trail, and also do some footage along the mountain side too. So see these trails, and I'm not sure if I know there was they searched for about 3 weeks, I believe, and so they searched all this area. Also, the fires at the beginning of this year, the firemen, I saw some of the footage, and they're out there, trying to, do those controlled burn fires, and so they're out here and, trying to control that big fire that was raging around this area. And so, I don't know if I'm assuming they would have stumbled upon it had they saw anything, but they didn't search, they didn't go through the whole area. They just went through certain areas, and then you had the air tankers that were dropping the water and that fire repellent. I'm not sure if it's powder or some kind of liquid or something, but yeah. Here you guys see the water right up against this mountainside. So with all the weather, it's been 12 years, so the weather could have brought things down. Had he fallen and maybe landed somewhere halfway up, because it's not just a straight drop. It's it does have a little bit of an angle. So you would, if you jumped, you'd probably hit maybe the middle part area, and then you'd probably get stuck. I don't think your body would keep going down. Maybe in certain areas, I guess. But I try to search it to see if anything interesting. Or I also searched the trees down there and the shrubbery to see if maybe anything got caught on it. As it went down with rain, or kind of the weather that kind of erodes the mountainside. All the stuff starts coming down. I know there was divers too that searched the area. I'm not sure if they dove around this area. I know I saw clips where they were diving around the pier. Could he? Another thing I was thinking about. I know they found, for some of you that follow this story, they found that burnt body that there was a guy, I think it was 5 days later after he went missing. So 5 days later, this guy riding his bike saw a burnt body on the side of up high, up on the Lake Hughes Road. and they were trying to see, they're trying to figure out if it was him, but it wasn't. It turned out it was somebody else that got shot. So there is some shady people. I've seen a few shady people around this area too, but it's a place where people can, I'm sure they've used it for bad intentions down here. And could he have run into some of those bad people? Possibly. He could have kept on going down that road, and since it was early in the morning, I mean, who knows what he could have ran into the wrong people, or maybe somebody committing that crime, about that body, because it was there 5 days, so it had been burned. You would think that it was almost around the same time. I mean, I'm not sure how far it was, decomposed, like how long it had been there. Probably have to look that up, but could have been around the same time when he disappeared. He could have been walking down and saw it, and of course, if people that witness things like that, they could get in serious trouble with the bad people. So that's another possibility too. They could have taken him, maybe dumped him off somewhere else. But here's the top of that hill on the side of the mountain. So there's a lot of areas here that you could climb up. It's not. I don't think it's like super difficult. Now, how tired was he? I'm not sure. He had already been up more than 24 hours. I'm not sure. It was 30 hours he was up. So could he have made it? This is about a mile. Now it's not a straight mile, but it's there's rough terrain. Plus you gotta climb uphill, so I'm not sure how long it would take. I mean, it would probably take an experienced hiker a little bit, or somebody that's in shape. It would still take a little bit, but you could get up there though, and it's possible. I know the search started, after they found this car, they probably started looking, and then I'm not sure when the search team arrived, and then the helicopter showed up too. So had he been up on top of this hill, they probably might have seen him. I'm not sure how they started the search, or where it actually begun. I know they kind of searched the water, thinking he was probably in the water. Maybe jumped in the water and just drowned, or committed suicide. So here you can see the descent. It's pretty steep, but see, if you jump, you would probably hit those rocks right there in the middle and not go all the way down. So it's not straight down, but it's still, you get seriously hurt. And I searched that whole area down there too. You'll see on the drone footage. I tried to zoom in when I saw strange things. Anyway, let me know if you guys see anything interesting. So as you can see, I went along the trails to see if I could see anything, but here's coming up, you'll see a part where I was talking about earlier about the red. Not sure what it is, if it's like part of the branch or part of the, the shrubbery there. You'll see right now when I zoom in. It is kind of weird, but there's also places where you could kind of hide, if you wanted to, or take shelter, like in between those rocks. It'd be hard to spot from up high. So in this area, yes, you see that? What is that? Is that part of the plant? I mean, it kind of looks somewhat, or is it the side of a I don't think it's shoes. It looks like it's like the base of the plant. But anyway, maybe, I mean, I didn't see any other plants like that with the red on the bottom, but for some of you who kind of know plants, maybe you guys could tell me if that is a type of plant that has like a red root system or red base to it. So here's some more. There's some more drone footage. I know it's kind of long with the drone footage, but I just can't edit it, and then I'll end up leaving a lot of stuff out that maybe somebody can spot. So I'm just gonna, I'll leave most of the footage on here. I did cut a little bit, some of the far away panning, just because, it's just hard to see from far away. You'd have to zoom in when you see something strange or weird. But I was hoping to spot any kind of clues, any kind of clothing, or maybe a shelter or something that maybe he built. Maybe it'll show us like he stayed there, or he was just looking for a place to sleep. But he has to be around here somewhere. That's the question, though. Where could he have gone? How far could he have gone? Which I don't think he went too far. I don't think he went towards the town either, or towards the freeway with all the shops there. I think he's out here somewhere. So, all right, well, we'll just keep checking out the drone footage.